Hi everyone, my name is Apuraj Garakapati. Welcome to my YouTube channel Amazing Abhay. Episode 8, The Groundwork of Greed, is not built like a battle episode. It is a strategy episode, a political cleanup episode, and a setup episode for the next phase of the Razo conflict. After Episode 7 exposed the mastermind behind the council manipulation, Episode 8 slows down and lets the consequences breathe. Rimurdu does not simply celebrate victory. Instead, he gathers information, studies the enemy network, and begins turning the situation in his favor. The title matters here. Greed is not just about wanting money or power. In this episode, greed means control. The Razos want control over humans, merchants, nations, and even future history. Rimurdu's side is now trying to understand that greed before it becomes another disaster. The episode's first major idea is that the enemy is not finished just because one scheme failed. The Razo family has been operating from the shadows for a long time, and Episode 8 makes it clear that their influence reaches into politics, trade, the council, and even other major players. Granville and Maribel are not simple villains who charge into battle. They move through pressure, manipulation, curses, money, and human fear. That makes them dangerous in a different way from Clayman or Hinata. Rimurdu cannot solve this with one big spell. He has to understand the board, identify the pieces, and decide which relationships can be saved and which enemies must be confronted directly. A key moment is Glenda's confession. She reveals that she was not simply acting freely. She was bound by a curse that forced her to serve the Razos, and disobedience would have meant death. This changes how the audience should read her character. She is not fully innocent, because her actions still caused damage. But she is also not just another loyal villain. She is someone trapped inside a political weapon system. Rimurdu removing that curse is important because it shows the difference between his leadership and the enemies. The Razos control people through fear. Rimurdu wins people by freeing them, listening to them, and giving them a place where they can choose a different future. Once Glenda is freed, the episode uses her as an intelligent source. This is where the political puzzle starts connecting. Glenda explains what she knows about the council, the Razos, Granville, and the wider scheme. Most importantly, the episode confirms that the enemy network is deeper than expected. Granville is still a key shadow figure, and Maribel's influence is becoming more dangerous. This is not just a random conspiracy. It is a carefully layered plan built around human supremacy, fear of monsters, and the desire to control the balance of power. For Rimurdu, this means the problem is bigger than revenge. It is a threat to the world order he is trying to. Before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Abhay grow naturally. The review side of the episode depends on how much the viewer enjoys strategy-heavy slime. If someone watches only for action, Episode 8 may feel slow. But for viewers who enjoy the nation-building and political chess side of Tenchura, this is a useful episode. It takes all the information from the previous reveal and organizes it into the next conflict. Rimurdu's team is no longer reacting blindly. They now understand that the Razo side has multiple layers, and that Maribel is becoming the real emotional and ideological threat. The episode works because it shows Rimurdu's strength as more than raw power. His real advantage is information, allies, and the ability to convert enemies into useful partners. This episode also reinforces Rimurdu's diplomatic position. Tempest is no longer a small monster town that outsiders can ignore. It is becoming a political force that affects councils, nobles, merchants, and demon lords. That is why the Razos are afraid. Rimurdu's dream of coexistence between humans and monsters sounds peaceful. But to people who built their power on controlling human fear, that dream is revolutionary. If humans and monsters learn to trust each other, the old power structure weakens. Episode 8 quietly shows that Rimurdu's real threat is not only his strength as a demon lord. His real threat is that he can make people believe another world is possible. The funniest contrast in the episode comes from the way serious politics is mixed with casual Rimurdu moments. Even while huge conspiracies are being discussed, the show still gives us food, banter, and character comedy. Glenda being treated to dinner, Hinata inserting herself into the meal, and Rimurdu having to deal with the atmosphere around him all help keep the episode from becoming too dry. This is a classic Tenchura balance. The world is moving toward conflict, but the characters still eat, joke, complain, and behave like people. That casual tone is part of why the show feels different from darker political fantasy. It can discuss dangerous conspiracies without losing its cozy identity. The episode then turns toward setup for the next adventure. Gobta reminds Rimuru about the promised ruins exploration with Milim. On the surface, this sounds like a lighter quest, almost like a side trip. But in Slime, a fun trip can quickly connect to the main plot. The ruins are not just a random destination. They are tied to the next phase of investigation, and they also pull Rimuru closer to Yuuki-related threads. The way this setup happens is very Slime-like. A comedic reminder suddenly becomes a plot obligation. Rimuru may want to avoid trouble, but the story is making sure he walks straight toward it. Before we move ahead, please take a second to share on this video. Sharing helps this video reach friends who may also enjoy anime, gaming, travel, cricket, chess, career basics, or personal stories. Your support helps Amazing Apai grow naturally. The Eldorado and Leon side of the episode adds another layer of tension. Demon Lord Leon is not the central focus yet, but his presence in the background reminds us that the story is expanding beyond Tempest and the Council. While Rimuru investigates the Rossos, other powerful figures are moving for their own reasons. Leon's goals, the idea of a new hero awakening, and the larger international situation all point to a bigger storm forming. This is important because Season 4 is no longer just about one local conflict. It is placing Rimuru inside a web of demon lords, heroes, nobles, merchants, and ancient schemes. Maribel's side is one of the strongest parts of the episode setup. She learns that the plan has failed, but she does not simply panic. Instead, she doubles down. Johan may consider that working with Rimuru could be practical, but Maribel refuses because her worldview cannot accept Rimuru's future. This makes her dangerous. She is not only greedy for control, she is ideologically committed to defeating the Monster King. Her hatred and ambition create the emotional engine for the next conflict. Rimuru wants coexistence. Maribel wants controlled protection through domination. Episode 8 positions these two visions on a collision course. As a recap, Episode 8 covers Glenda revealing her curse, Rimuru freeing her, Glenda choosing to cooperate, new information about Granville and Maribel coming to light, Rimuru's side preparing for the next investigation, Gobta reminding everyone about the ruins trip with Milim, and Maribel continuing to scheme despite the failure of her current plan. As a review, the episode is a connector. It may not deliver a huge action payoff, but it makes the season's next direction much clearer. The best parts are the intelligence reveal, the political tension around the Rossos, Rimuru's leadership style, and the way the episode turns a quiet dinner into a major strategic pivot. The final feeling of Episode 8 is that Tempest has won this round, but the real game is just beginning. Rimuru now has better information, a new potential asset in Glenda, and a stronger understanding of the Rosso threat. But Maribel is still active, Granville's shadow still remains, Yuuki is being pulled into dangerous movements, and the ruins investigation is about to open the next door. That is why The Groundwork of Greed is a fitting title. The episode is not the explosion, it is the fuse being laid across the floor. By the end, the audience should feel that Episode 9 will not simply be an adventure. It will be the next step into the hidden machinery behind the seasons. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Amazing Apai. Subscribing makes sure you do not miss the next video, and it gives me motivation to keep improving the quality of every upload. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.